Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. And we are broadcasting live, and of course, an unbelievable panel this morning. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glantz. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation,
Equal
housing lender. We have to.
Oh, well, I'm going to do it
We
later.
have to. The legal department.
You're hosting, Harry. You can hear
No, the legal department texted me last night, right, John? They
Yes.
emailed us, texted us, said, make sure you go through your disclosures. So, and our business, real estate, mortgages, are all about disclosure.
Yeah. Hey, and John Kolb joins us this morning, too. Hey, John.
Hey, I'm at compliance. John Kolb, NMLS 13263.
That's right.
Yeah. Kevin Stewart Team Real Estate Partners there in Rochester. Hey, Kev.
Are we already on a disclosure conversation?
I don't even know
Like
how we
that
started.
quick?
My fault here. Hey,
Rolled in fast.
guys, this
Came
is
in
a
hot.
hardcore mortgage real estate business show. Of course, 1 hour of mortgages and real estate. But Harry, if we can't talk some Lions in here, I don't know. I've been pumped up all week. I mean, this town is really unique, Kev. We'll get into it a little bit. I mean,
What
you
does
hear-
that tell you that we're 5 and 7?
Yeah, something
We're
like that.
jacked up.
I know we're all jacked up.
We're a jacked up football town. Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
No.
Forget about making the playoffs. What if we got to, you can't say Super Bowl, so you have to say big game.
Right.
What if we got to that big game? What would this city be like?
It
A lot
would
of fun.
lose its marbles.
It's
I'm telling you, everyone I
insanity.
know, all my we would lose it.
Every
I'm
city,
looking
every
forward to
restaurant, and the bars in Detroit, everything's going to be packed. It's going to be right. Anyways, I don't know. Before we get too far ahead
You know,
of
I've been
ourselves,
I like it
ridiculed.
already.
I've been ridiculed by my friends saying one day it's going to happen. They think I'm crazy. I said, no, one day we're going to make the Super Bowl. We are. I believe that.
You mean the big game?
Oh yeah, I can't say Super Bowl. Sorry.
Harry, it's sort of like
Disclosure.
the mortgage.
We are disclosure.
Do mortgage real estate sort of segue? It's sort of like the mortgage and real estate, Kev, that happened. Those rates really went crazy in September. The Fed keeps bumping up the Fed funds rate, 5-7 increases. We got another CPI information coming out. Fed's going to be talking again one more time before the year end. Sort of like sports, things turned around real quickly, and now it got good again. It got really exciting.
Yeah, it's got some aspects that are fun. It's still what I believe is a customer confidence issue. I think the consumer doesn't have confidence in what's going on right now, so people are scared, right? They're fearful, and they're not making what is probably the logical decision or the right decision. So they're making no decision, which usually isn't the right thing to do. And there's plenty of people out there that want to buy, that want to sell, that this actually is a market that makes a lot of sense for them, but they're not doing anything because of fear.
So John's got a great chart. Okay, John's got a great chart that he's going to talk about that he will send J. Kolb at lowrateonline.com. Anybody who wants to email him, he'll send them this chart that will show why waiting is a bad thing. Okay, how much money you're going to potentially lose by waiting. Because, see, if you're waiting, what do you wait? Here, I've heard somebody say this on the radio, Harvey. What are you waiting for? Because prices are not going to come down to the point where it's going to be a half-off sale in real estate like it was in 2008, 2009, 2010. If people are waiting for that, they're going to lose so much money. And John has this tremendous chart because real estate always goes up. Over time, historically speaking, it will always go up, right, John?
Yeah, I mean it's the data is there. You can't argue it. And it's numbers. It's not anything other than that. And the reason, like Kevin said, the reason people are scared is because the Fed doesn't even know what they're doing. They're just jacking rates up so quickly that it's causing everybody to be scared. And now, like Harvey just said, they've come back down. But if you look at the data after an inflation comes a recession, you're talking about prices coming down a little bit, maybe staying a little bit the same, but they're not going to fall. They're gonna just stall, and then they're going to keep going up. And they time and time again, since what was the chart, Harry? Since 1953, since this data has been kept, every single time it's happened the same way.
Well, and keep in mind historical economics. That's what we're talking about, right?
Right.
We're just talking about taking a look back in history and realizing and understanding what we're doing. If you look back, so we just finished up with a midterm election. If you take a look at midterm election years, the 6 months following a midterm election, the market has never in history ever gone down. And in fact, it averages a double-digit increase.
Yeah. And
That's
Kevin,
the
you know
average.
what else
That's
is,
just what history says.
you know what else is not going to happen? The reason why they think they're waiting for this to happen. What's not going to happen, Kevin? A tremendous amount of inventory coming on the market. It's not going to happen.
No, and unless we have a massive influx of inventory, prices are not going to go down. they're going to stay stable right now. That's what's happening. There's been a stability in the pricing of the homes, but they're not getting cheaper, and they're not going to get cheaper. So sitting there and waiting for your interest rate to come back down is a bad idea, because when you do, now you're going to get pent up demand. And when it does come down, you and everybody else is going to try to buy a place.
Everyone's going to be jumping right back in a continuing inventory discussion. Let's keep that going, John.
Yeah.
Definitely the age, the demographics. Your chart says there's going to be a lot of buyers out there. There's just this little window now. I'll call it half of December left, January, February, probably where you can get out before the rush really kicks.
Yeah, I mean the people that are coming into the market to purchase homes. What would they say? People between 33 and 40 being first-time home buyers. It's the largest population since baby boomers to go into the housing market, and we just don't have the houses out there to do so. They aren't building quick enough for these. What are they? Millennials?
Yeah, well,
Gen Xers.
Yeah, they're Gen Xers, but mostly millennials now. And we did our podcast on Wednesday, and we talked about this. So funny because John and I listened to a call on Thursday, the day following our podcast, where we said the median age is 34 of a first-time home buyer. Now, when you talk about a median age, that means it's anywhere from 27 to 41. Okay, so birth years 1982 through 1996. That's the tranche that are buying homes now. Huge number of buyers are out there. So if you're looking for a home, you have competition. There's less homes on the market. There's not going to be an increase in inventory, significant increase. So what does that do? Supply and demand, Econ 101. Okay, prices aren't coming down.
Nope.
Yep. Supply and demand dictates that it won't. It can't. Not unless that singular piece changes. So interest rates do have an effect, because it has an effect on the consumer confidence. And it does have an effect on the cost of what it takes to purchase a home. So it may change people's criteria. But we've been saying right now is, date the interest rate, marry the house.
Right.
You got tons of equity sitting in your house. It's 2022. You might stay there for another couple of years. Again, you're sitting on that unbelievable interest rate. So there's very little distress in today's marketplace. You're not going to be picking up foreclosures. None of those exist anymore. People aren't just going to leave their house. They'll hang in there. They'll modify it if they need to, and they're going to hang in there. Folks, this inventory thing is real. If you're thinking about buying a house, definitely keep it here. Give us a call at the office. We'll get you set up the right way. We do take your calls live here, 248-539-9797. 1 hour of getting your lion's den all put together, your little man cave or she shed. Definitely, we got to get pumped up. If you're into any sport at all, hey, you might even be into women's basketball. By the way, they did release that. They did release Brittany Griner, John Kolb, just so you know that. 248-539-9797. John, I see you smiling over there, but get your man cave together.
Well, here, another reason why people are staying in their houses, if they really love the house, they're staying in the house. Is why? Because they have a 3% interest rate.
There you go.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another reason why there isn't going to be a sudden influx of inventory, is that people love a 3% interest rate.
And almost everybody out there has it, because what did they do? Every single person out there refi.
About 80%. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the mark. That's the
there's
number,
so
around
few
80%.
people that
There's
don't
still
have
people
that
out there that didn't do it. That, you can never talk somebody into telling them, hey, 3% is a really good rate. Well, I'm going to wait till it comes down to 2.5. Okay, you keep waiting.
Yep.
No, everybody's waiting for something.
They're not
man.
going to zero.
Yeah,
How many
right.
times did we say
Oh, my
that? Goodness,
God.
guys, they're not
So
going to zero.
I got a question for Kevin, because I'm going to use myself as an example. I've got plenty of equity in my home. I'd like to upgrade, but where am I going to go? I could sell my house in an instant. It would sell in a couple days. Kevin would list it, and it would be gone before I could even look at one of what he's sending me. So, Kevin, at that point, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get myself into that dream home that I want to be in?
The biggest thing is planning. Like, you have to put together a solid plan, beginning to end. You have to have your options. There's a lot of different ways that it can go. There's a lot of different options and how you can do that. But ultimately, you have to have a couple of backup plans. And what a lot of people don't do is they don't build a good plan. And therefore, they start making irrational decisions because they feel like they have to. They sell their home and they don't have an option or a place to go. And so they make bad decisions. So you got to have a good plan.
All right. Again, 1 hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. All of your calls. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. We broadcast till 10 o'clock. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. You can catch us at Capital all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. If you got a little problem with your mortgage and been a little elsewhere and things are delayed and you're not getting straight answers, give us a call. We've been able to troubleshoot quite a few this fall heading into the winter too, John. I'm keep it clean here, and I've been happy to grab those files and get them close for some other lenders who have dropped the ball. And again, it does matter who you're working with, and that's why we bring these great agents on like Kevin Stewart. And of course, that's the job out there. I mean, really putting that plan together. I wrote down some famous quotes, I think, from Ben Franklin. I might get to a little bit later, but planning is everything, and that's really important stuff when you're thinking about getting into home ownership.
Yeah, we preach planning to every single person we talk to. It's the very first part of our process is to go through and create a plan for the buyer or the seller or the customer that's with us. And having a good plan that goes from beginning to end, that talks about the options, the opportunities, and also doesn't hide from the concerns, which is if this happens, then what? Mm-hmm. If that happens, then what? And having a couple different options and way to go it's vital in order to do a home and sale properly.
Right. I mean, it's very important to look at all the numbers, which way they could go, right? What happens if rates go down? What happens if rates go up? What happens if rates stay the same? Where's my payment going to be? How much money am I going to need at closing? So like Kevin said, it's almost like playing chess. Bobby Fischer, see a couple steps ahead and kind of plan for those so that you're not caught off guard and making dumb decisions. You make an educated decision. And it's all about working with the right team. And there's too many people out there in our industry, in Kevin's industry, that don't do that kind of planning. Then that comes, and at the end of the day, they've got a client who's put in a situation that they're not comfortable with.
The reality is most of our industry plays checkers, right? And we like to play chess. And they go in and it's reactionary. So somebody makes a move, then they react to that move. They're playing checkers. We're playing chess. We're thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 moves ahead and figuring out, okay, how are we going to win this game? And it's not even as much about what the person's across from us is doing, but what our plan is. And then when something doesn't go right, then you shift and adjust, right? We're playing chess.
Right. And you know what? And it's people like Kevin. And we did a really nice podcast with Kevin and Jim Schaefer. What was it, like about a month ago? Mm-hmm. And you could see that those two, that Kevin and Jim, work together. They're not against each other. They're not competing. They're working together. They're working together to better their community, to do the right thing by real estate agents, to do the right thing by clients. And it's so important to get with people like that. Stay in your community. Stay with the local guys who, not the big box branches that are everywhere. Stay with the guys that are going to take care of you and that you're going to see at your kid's soccer game or at the neighborhood restaurant. Work with those people because those people are the people that are living in your community and want to do better.
Well, John, in everything, a collaborative effort is the best solution. Okay, everybody working together as a team for the common good, making sure everything's taken care of. And also getting back to the conversation before, 2007, 2008, 2009, when the economy, it was a total recession. It was the largest recession since 1929. So that was 80 years. And that was 15 years ago. The dynamics right now, the economic dynamics for all the geniuses out there listening, they're different. Unemployment is high.
Right.
Okay. You're not going to have the triple witching hour of depreciation, right? Rising interest rates and unemployment. So what you have here is look at the workforce, almost fully employed. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't find people to go to work. All right. And I'm not going to say that they don't want to go to work. You just can't find people that want to go to work. You're seeing a lack of inventory. Back in 2008, 2009, there was no lack of inventory. There was substantial inventory. So we have a lack of inventory, and now you have a rate-rising environment. But you know what? The rates have more than doubled in the last 8 months, but they were at forever lows.
Right.
The normal interest rate is what's going on right now, 6.5%, 7.5%. Historically speaking, just take a look.
Actually, the average is a little higher, isn't it, Terry?
What I'm saying is we are in a normal market right now. We were just spoiled in 2020 and 21. Don't forget that. And you're not seeing the outrageous, overpriced wave home inspections anymore like we were seeing in the past. There are pockets, and Kevin will tell you about them, that are hot. They're still hot. You're going to have multiple bids, multiple offers, and but by and large right now, sellers are entertaining all offers.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sellers out there just want an offer.
Right.
You know, average time on market has gone up considerably.
Right.
At one point, I think technically they still said it was close to 30, but we all knew it wasn't. If you priced a home even remotely accurate, it was going to sell in a weekend. But that was a false reality. That was just, it was a 2-year blip on the radar that none of us had ever seen. I mean, everyone in this room, there's a lot of experience sitting at this table right now, and none of us had seen that. We'd come on the show and we were just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Right.
But that is not normal. There's nothing about what we just came out of that's normal. What we're coming into now is a little more normal. It's a little more common. And again, it's a movie we've all seen before. So that's why we can sit at this table and have confidence in the conversation, because we've seen it before.
Well, and we have the data to back it up.
We have the
too.
data to back it up. And we know that that what happened in 2007, 8, 9, that's not what we're experiencing right now. It's just not. All of the economic factors that cause that have not happened at all since, and they're not happening still. So we're not going to see that again.
No. And the number one thing that Harry was in the zone there. He was really going at it. Was that there was the inventory. The inventory is not there, so that's why you're not going to see the same type of problems, because there's nowhere else to go.
We talk month supply of inventory all the time. So the standard median where the buyer and the seller, no one's in charge, right? We call that as fully stable market. That's 6 months of supply, meaning that if every home was purchased in 6 months, they're all gone. So that's considered standard. In 2009, it was like 13 to 16 months of supply, which is a lot.
Yeah.
So that's way over the average. And then last spring, we were at
A couple weeks.
it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks of inventory. It was like 16 days was the inventory level. Right now, we're still less than 2 months.
It all depends what area you're in. Of course, every region's a little
Oh,
different.
without
The
a doubt.
national average might be 3.2 months, and I don't think it's even that high now.
But Kevin,
even
I'm
that's
betting.
Detroit,
I'm
we're still
betting.
super low. Yeah.
I'm betting if we got 100 of your co-workers in a room right now, minimum 99.5 would say they have more buyers and that there's an inventory problem. That if there was more inventory, they could get more people in the
Without
homes.
a doubt, we still have plenty of people out there looking for homes. We don't have the homes to sell them. We don't have good, great quality inventory. And we have people that are waiting on the sidelines, trying to and want to buy a house. We just need to have the houses to sell them.
All right, let's talk about some affordable areas. You know, Detroit does fall into the picture of the top 10. I actually wrote down them. I'll go through them really quick here. Little Rock, Arkansas at 10, St. Louis 9. I'm going backwards. Pittsburgh 8, Detroit 7, Tulsa, Oklahoma 6, and Cleveland 5, and Toledo, Ohio at number 2, and Wichita, Kansas. Here, Toledo, Ohio. Talk about that area down in that area of southern Michigan. Monroe. It's been booming. It's absolutely booming down there, in a great area to buy homes. So again, outside of the Toledo area, if you're listening in Toledo, hello. You can buy a great house in that area for the great money. There's colleges in town. They're good investments. And then again, you go north here and you're into Michigan and some of those areas. And we see these, John, all across Michigan still. This is a hot area. Michigan in general is very affordable. Again, even to get a mortgage in our state, extremely affordable compared to some other states.
Yeah, I mean, you travel across the nation, you see some of these areas like, Phoenix and Scottsdale and L.A. and, Chicago, and you just see how expensive all these homes are, and you're not really getting very much for your money. But, that's what makes Michigan so great, is that you've got a little bit of land. You've got a lot of land if you want it, depending upon where you want to live, and the homes are bigger. I believe our taxes to be a little bit higher than some of the other areas out there.
Okay.
But, like I said, we've got a great area, 4 seasons, and I love it.
Well, the quality of life and the cost of living here relative to parts of the country is extremely low, a lot lower and a better quality of life. So it goes back to the what are you waiting for situation. If you find the house, buy the house. That's it. It's that simple. When I say that, I'm not poo-pooing people that are in an economic crisis. What I'm saying is that if you're in the market to buy a house, and there are plenty of buyers out there, and you see one, all right, now is the time to buy, because also in the winter months here in Michigan, there's less competition. Right? Really, there's less competition.
And
Well,
that's when
that
you want to
window.
buy.
And they're also going to be projecting a bidding war coming next year.
Yeah.
More towards the second half of the year.
Well, it's because you're going to see pent-up demand.
Right.
Yeah,
You
as
have a
we
lot of
get
people
into-
sitting on their hands right now, and there's going to be a pent-up demand. And when that happens, it could get weird again. It really could.
Well, we are going to predict that. We're going to make our predictions, our 2023 predictions next week on the show. It's our last show of the year, and we're going to talk about what's going to happen in the spring, Kevin, and I totally agree with you.
All right, when we come back, we'll get into the first-time buyers, a little bit of the knowledge gap. We got to close that gap a little bit. We'll talk about education, doing it the right way. 248-539-9797. We'll take your call. All righty, welcome back to the show. 9:29 on a beautiful Saturday. Why not? We got a lot of football to talk about. We got Pat Caputo coming in with sports right after us. Again, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. You can call us at Capital all day long, all weekend long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Always live here in the studio. 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed. John Colbin, the boss, Harry Glanz. We bring in Kevin Stewart from Stewart Team Real Estate Partners out there in Rochester. And Kevin, I know you work the whole Tri-County area. There's some really great opportunities. We've talked about that this morning. We talked about bridging this knowledge gap, and there's no doubt. And had a great closing yesterday with a gentleman who's bought his first house, and hardworking guy. Congratulations, JP, if you're listening by any chance. He's not, because he's a hardworking DT Energy guy, and he's always working 24-hour shifts. And you know what? I felt bad. I met him in an interesting way, but really interesting how he got dragged along by a bad lender, and he didn't know where to go. And then finally we hooked up and we were able to take care of him, and just a smile on his face. So excited for all first-time home buyers. But, Kev, we do see that. The buyers that learn what they're doing and put that whole plan together, they enjoy the experience, and they're confident, and now they can really go out there with their realtor. The other folks don't have any of that confidence. It's it's really not a good scene.
Well, they go around on their computer, they click, 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 and then they're like, oh, look, I'm going to go buy a house. No, don't do that. Have conversations with quality professionals. And, unfortunately, we are in an industry, we all know this, we've talked about this a lot over the last year, that it's about to get thinner, I believe, and in a good way. I think that's going to happen. I think it needs to happen because, unfortunately, there's a lot of individuals in our industry on my side of the table and your guys' side of the table that really aren't doing it well. They're not doing it properly. They're not doing it the right way. They've never really taken the time to become students of how to do it well. And unfortunately, the person who suffers for that is the customer. The consumer is hurting on that. And so being with the right people and knowing that they know what they're doing and that they've seen the different markets, they've seen all of those things is very important.
Well, our industries are too easy to hop in and out of, right? All you got to do is keep your license going, and you can say, well, I don't like this time. I'm going to go back to being an engineer, and then all of a sudden, boom, rates get better, prices get better, houses are starting to sell, and they hop back into it, and they do it on the weekends and at night. And there's nothing wrong with that. Good for that, but you got to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Well, our barrier of entry just isn't what it should be. I wish there was a better barrier of entry.
I love that. I love Kevin reads my mind all the time. The barrier of entry in our industries, you study for a test, you take 40 hours, you take a test,
joke,
you get 70 on the test, you're in? I mean, come on now. Really? 70 wasn't a great grade, man.
Becky, always educating out there. Becky Ellie joins us from the Downriver area. Becky, good morning.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Hey, Beck.
Morning. What's happening, Beck?
Beck,
Hey.
We're bouncing around, always talking mortgages and real estate, and we're off to our first-time homebuyers and sort of bridging that knowledge gap and how fun it is and comfortable for those first-time homebuyers when they just get the knowledge and now they understand their options, and now when they're out there with their real estate agent, they really can make some decisions with confidence.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that is like we love being a part of that process, education process. Like we talk about it all the time. There's not enough good information out there. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that went through the process that have no idea what happened to them. It's like they went through a tornado and came out the other side. They have no idea what they did. And then once the dust settles, sometimes they're so upset because they didn't really fully understand what happened.
Beck, we're having some audio difficulty, and you're 1,000% about that. Let's put you on hold for half a second here. Kev, we're just going with it right away there, telling this is where we're at with this. This is how we're going to make this work. And the best part about the industry is those smiles on the faces at the closing table.
Mm-hmm. Yep, having everybody having a great experience and finishing the deal properly and going through it all is exciting. It's fun, and when things go well and they go the way they're supposed to, it's supposed to be a happy, fun experience. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go perfect, but a lot of times that's because there's professionals involved that didn't do it the right way.
Well, Kevin, let's talk about this. I mean, a sticky situation, and we haven't had it come up in a long time. I mean, property values. Where do you see property values right now? You're seeing appraisals coming in. We've had any situations where you've really had to go ahead and negotiate hard because an appraisal didn't come in where the purchase price was?
We haven't had a lot of appraisal issues in a while. I think appraisers are doing a good job. I mean, really, if you think about it, if you do a 6-month look back, you're looking right into the heat of the market. And so I do see the next 6 months being a little interesting. Moving forward, how that's going to look, I'm very interested to see how that's going to unfold. I think that we're going to have to be a little more careful in the way that we negotiate our contracts, the way we put things together. But people waiving their appraisals, those contingencies, that's gone.
Yeah, I want to go to Becky on that, and that's a very pragmatic way to look at it. So April, May sales are going to look back to April, May of 2023 are going to get comped back out from November and December 2022. So as long as everybody in your realtor co-workers understand that that's where the look back's going to go, I don't think we should have a problem.
And I don't think that it's going to be more of a lack of information than anything. I think they're going to look back and they're going to have to, appraisers are going to have to get a little creative inside the spaces that they're looking because there's just not going to be enough data. We haven't had enough sales.
They may have
as a whole
to go
sales.
back a year. They may have to go back a year instead of 6 months because that's, like Kevin said, you need the data. There isn't any data to help support anything, high or low.
Yeah.
Becky, jump in on that.
I mean, but then you're also going to get those, appraisers that are going to say, well, I don't want to go back a year. I don't want to go back more than 6 months because X, Y, Z happened. And that's where you're going to kind of have a little bit of a battle, I think. And it might make it a little bit more difficult for these concession offers that are going through right now so easily it might make those concession offers coming forward a little bit more difficult, which I think is going to be a topic because I'm seeing more. Like, I would say probably I have a good 10 files with concessions right now currently.
Well, and this is why, like we've been talking about, the quality of the professionals you're working with really matters because, Becky, you're able to get through that, and you're going to get your clients through that because you know what you're doing. You're very, very good at your job. And hopefully they have agents on the other side of the table and on both sides of the table that are going to be able to work through that conversation as well, if it happens. Quality professionals and the people you work with right now matter more than ever, more than it has in a very, very long time, because you need folks in your corner that have experience, that know what to do, that know what to say, that know how to have the conversations more than ever, because it's not just slap an offer together, close, right? It's not what it was a year ago. It's a different market, and you have to be able to rely on people that have done that before, that aren't scared of anything that's happening in the market right now and know how to put the deal together and get it to the closing table.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've actually been looking forward to a market like this.
Well, I think we all have. National Association of Realtors said about a month or so ago, I read an article that said nationally 62% of licensed agents aren't going to be in the industry in June.
Wow.
They're going to be gone.
I don't disagree with that. That means, and that means 10% are literally going to take over the market and take over territory because we are the ones that have seen this before, people like yourself.
And the reality is we've had the majority of the market share anyways, but now it's going to be a different way of looking at that market share.
More exposure.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is you're not going to get the person that does 1, 2, 3 deals a year because they're not going to make it. They're going to be gone. They're going to go back to a different job. They're going to get out of the industry. They're going to shift out of the industry because it's not, air quotes, easy anymore.
All right. Let me throw the number out there, 248-539-9797. If you want to sell or purchase a new home, definitely give us a call. We're up till about 10 o'clock here with the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Always taking your calls, 248-539-9797. Kev, let me dive into the purchase transactions themselves. There's so many variations that can be put into a transaction, and they're left out. Again, this is where we go with that knowledge piece there. But all of these variables in a transaction, whether the home needs some city certs or some inspection or work done on the property, whatever it might be, seller's concessions, all of these things, they all happen within 30 days. That's why it's so important. You throw the weekends in there, you've got, 8 days of the month, and no one's working on the files. That's 22 days to really complete a lot of work, and they do happen. We make them happen all the time like that. It's exciting, but again, talk about why that knowledge is so important.
There's an organizational step to it that's extremely important. You have to be organized. You have to understand what's going on and know what's going on from beginning to end is extremely important. So again, building the plan, having the plan, and executing the plan is of key. All right. We got some open lines here again. 248-539-9797. Wouldn't be fair if we didn't talk about opportunities during the holiday season here. We always bring up debt consolidation because that's how we're going to start off 2023, as we always do. Maybe wrapping up some of the situations in your life where you had a credit card out there, you borrowed some money. Maybe there is a way that we can use the equity properly, whether it be a home equity loan, a line, or a second line of credit. Sometimes that's the way to fly, but sit down with the professionals. And again, did you just buy your house 5 or 3 years ago or 2 years ago? That really falls into all this, John. Let's just dive into a little bit of that debt consolidation coming up.
Well, yeah, you just read my mind because the one thing I wanted to talk about was how many people are taking out home equity loans right now for home improvements or debt consolidation because they don't want to touch the rate on their first mortgage. But what these people need to start thinking about now and in the future is the combined rate, the blended rate that they're going to have between the two loans, because that home equity line of credit is going to start adjusting up and up and up, just like a credit card will when the rates go up with the Fed funds rate. So you got to really start looking at what's your combined payment, how quickly you're going to pay that off. I always tell people, if you're going to pay that home equity line of credit off in the next 12, 18 months, 2 years, then keep it. Don't worry about it. You don't want to touch that. But if you're going to go a little bit longer than that, why don't we just start looking at whether it's smart to combine those two loans and start saving you some money on a monthly basis.
Or preparing ways for your next refinance or consolidation of these two loans so that you are prepared to do it the right way.
I don't want to touch my rate at 3% because I don't want the payment to be 6% right now, 5%, whatever the case may be. but I don't want to be in this home for 5 years. Okay, how long is it going to take you to pay off that second mortgage? 10 years. Okay, well then let's talk about just saving you some money. Stop looking at the interest rate and start looking at what's coming out of your pocket each and every month.
Yeah, the math doesn't lie. The math and then the time value of money and then the time you're going to have to pay the money back, it all factors in the equation. So when we sit down with somebody and we do the math, it's only about saving you money and making the best financial decision to set you up for success. If you're not doing that and you're just trying a short-term Band-Aid approach, it's never a good philosophy to have.
All right, we're up against a quick break here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I won't even say it, Harry. I thought I had some mad country talent, country music. Harry Glanz knows a lot about hats and a lot about mortgages and real estate. If you're listening in, it is the Hardcore Mortgage Show. And again, we do have some open lines here, 248-539-9797. And we are pumped up. Why? Because the whole vibe around Detroit is all based on sports. It's always been that way since I've been a kid. My favorite teams, of course, all Detroit teams. Harry, the Lions got something cooking here. We're going to sneak a little bit of football talk in real quick because it's an exciting area. We live in a great region. We talk about the location of your home. Detroit has become a great place. They're talking about 2050. That this is going to be where everyone wants to move to.
Well, Harvey, I wear a lot of hats, as you know. So speaking of hats, I'll have my Lions hat on tomorrow because the Lions are favored. The Lions are favored against a 10-2 team. The Minnesota Vikings coming to town. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be packed. Tickets are crazy right now.
We turn off the water like in her hotel tonight, like if they're in town tonight, Minnesota. You know, we've heard that before. Teams do that locally. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Lions are going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Okay,
you said it, Becky. I'm good with that. Becky Alley, of course, joins us also, and John Kolb, Harry Glanz, Kevin Stewart Real Estate. Did I get it right, Stewart?
You were close.
Stewart Team Real
Stewart
Estate.
Team.
Real Estate Partners. Hey, you guys, let a little real estate talk to wrap up our show. We got about 15 minutes or so. If you want to join, 248-539-9797. We have gone around the gamut talking about all sorts of situations. First-time home buyers, we always like to include that. The down payment assistance programs are out there. The minimum down programs are out there. John Cole, we got USDA that I'm always reaching out to families all across Michigan. Truly, other than Metro Detroit, anywhere else, you can get a zero down USDA loan. It's endless opportunities to get yourself into a home.
Yeah, I mean, but beware, that loan is not for everybody, right? In any home, you have to actually look up the address of the home that you're interested in to find out if it qualifies for a USDA loan. And then there's also income limitations for those type of loans. And it's not just the person on the loan. It's the family. It's everybody in the family. If you have an 18-year-old child that is working, living at home, and filing a tax return, that income counts as well. And that's for any government type loans. So you just got to be really leery of those type of loans and making sure that you're getting with somebody. I was referred somebody moving here from Arizona, and they wanted to get into a Mishta product. And the guy in Arizona was like, "Oh, this Mishta product is great. It's going to be perfect for you, blah, blah, blah." It was perfect, except for they make way too much money.
Yeah.
So, when I had to break it to them, they put them on hold because they did not have the cash flow to be able to put the down payment down. And they were really relying on that $7,500 or $10,000 for the down payment help. And it put them on hold for a little bit. But you know what? That's part of what we do. We don't want to just put the file in the system and wing it. We tell people on the front end so that they don't get their heart set on anything and then dreams broken.
Well, it's better to put them on hold on the front end than them go out, find the perfect house, negotiate the contract, get the deal together, start paying for inspections, and
waste everyone's time.
Then things don't go well.
That's not good.
That's not good. That's not good
Our
at all.
team strives always for those best results. Becky, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say some of that issue comes from some of these inexperienced agents using these particular programs as a foot in the door. Let me get some clients in. Oh, you can get a house down payment, zero down out of pocket, all these things, and they kind of present this like glitter and gold kind of situation, and then they finally talk to a lender, and like John said, excuse me, they don't qualify, or they make too much money, or their credit's not there. And there's all these things that go into it, and sometimes it puts us in this, a decision, like in this defensive, situation, because the consumer's like, well, this is what I want, and I want my Oompa Loompa, and they get upset about it, and it completely changes everything. And on the other side, you got a lot of people walking around with really bad pre-approvals, thinking they qualify for these down payment assistance programs. Then sometimes we're that second call in, and they don't at all, and that's why you have to pivot around. And then we get involved with these concessions offers that are awesome, that we can actually even pivot around those kinds of things to still get people to the finish line. So there's a lot of that happening right now, which is why when I mentioned earlier, I've been looking forward to a market like this, because it is going to weed out a lot of this bad advice, bad just, getting your foot in the door, overly salesing instead of helping. You can't sell someone if you're not helping someone.
Got to help them. 248-539-9797. Very well said. Let's dive off into second homes and vacation homes. As the weather was chilly, I had to scrape some ice and snow off the car this morning. And it always reminds me of warmer temperatures and getting away. And a lot of families are thinking about it. Look, it's a great way to plan. If you've got a larger family and an extended family, even your own family, the cost of hotel rooms, and it's very expensive. The Airbnb market, of course, we know this is blown up, Kevin. We see it all over. There's some opportunities even locally here with our inland lakes and such. But it's just such a great opportunity for any family. I mean, again, whether you're buying anywhere, you do real estate all over the state of Michigan. So there's these great opportunities. Really easy to get into a second home. And sometimes families will get together, John Kolb, and do it together. So we see a lot of success stories. And another way to get some more activity on your, in your investments. At the end of the day, it's another real estate investment.
Yeah, investing in real estate is spectacular. And there's dozens of different avenues and ways in which you can do it. And people think you have to be wealthy and start out wealthy in order to invest in real estate. That's not true. There's a lot of creative and ways to start investing into real estate. And the beauty of investing in real estate is it doesn't go up and down the way that other investments do. It's very stable. It's very safe, right. But it has a lot of upside as well. But you don't get the volatility. There's a lot of volatility in investing, and we've all seen that in the last year. We've seen the volatility of the market, but there's not volatility. There's very little volatility when it comes to investing into real estate.
John, just a little slightly more expensive to get into a second home. Again, a little bit larger down payment, 6 months in reserves, PITA. But John, that budgeting for it, again, the upkeep, the proximity to your home, the repairs, utilities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as my family, what we did is we went in on a place all together, and that was 17 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
So, and it was, we did it that way because we did not want to make it a financial burden on just one person. So we split everything 3 ways, 4 ways, depending upon how many people are in the family, and it really works out because it just helps defray the cost so that not one person is obliged, and everyone uses it. And, we did it where the house was only 2.5 hours away so that it's not that 4.5, 5-hour drive on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, there's travel costs, sure.
And because, there's travel costs, and no one wants to sit in a car that long for a long weekend. So we did it that way, and it's worked out really well. It's brought our family really a lot closer together. We all now hang out as friends instead of just being parents and brothers and sisters, and it's been a great thing. I would highly suggest it to anybody that can make something like that happen.
That's a great quality of life situation. And Becky, I want to ask John this one infamous question on it. People do these things because they say it's appreciation. They want to make money. They're going to buy the house. But in terms of that, if there are people out there thinking, John, 17 years ago, how much could you sell that property now for, just and profit from it if you were going to sell it?
Well, so you know what was going on in 2005 with prices being high back then. So we actually bought at the wrong time, but I would never have changed that. So, but can we sell it and make a profit? Absolutely. Even though we bought high, the market tanked in 2008 through 2010, but now the values are back up. So yes, we could sell, make a profit, but that's not what
that's
we're.
That's not what you're going to do. But long term, that's just to the point. And Becky, that's to the point. Real estate, long term, is proven over time to be the best investment.
Yeah, and that's why I want to kind of even like what Kevin was saying. The barrier of entry for real estate investing is so nominal. If you want to invest in $100,000 worth of stock, you need $100,000. If you want to invest in $100,000 of real estate and it's an investment property or a second home, you only need $20,000 or even $10,000 if you're doing a 10% down if it truly is a second home. So what you can do to invest in yourself, and if you look at it like what Kevin was mentioning, historically speaking, even recessions, even in the worst of market, real estate holds its own versus the volatility of a market. You can lose $30,000 in your stock portfolio overnight. You're not going to lose $30,000 in a real estate and homes overnight. It's just not going to happen.
It may have times where it goes down. We saw that. We've seen values go down. We understand that. But in the long-term gain, it's not. It's going to go up. And what people have to realize is that if there is a recessive market, the beauty of that is if you have a rental property, you have something that you can rent, your rent is going to go up. Because in a recessive market, rent increases. It doesn't go down, it goes up. So, I see that it's really hard to lose because you can still cash flow a property properly, even when the market's bad, wait it out, and still make the money in the back end as well.
That's the number one thing. I was just going to say it's the long game. You have to wait it out. You can't just jump. So had we bought our house in 2005, gone through 2008 and 2010 and wanted to sell it in 2012, no, we would have lost our butts. But it's the long game. So if you go through something like that where you buy high, it falls and it comes back. You can't. It's not a 5-year thing. It's a long-term thing that you have to wait out. So you have to put that in the back of your head that, hey, if something like this happens, am I ready to sit on this property for 10, 15 years? Because at that point, yes, you'll get your money back and plus some.
Yeah, and too many people panic. Fear sets in, and when things change, they panic. So what do? They sell everything. Oh, I got to sell everything. Well, that's not a good way to do it. That's not how anybody out there who's built any set of wealth reacts. You don't.
Scared
not
money
reactive.
can't make
it
money.
It doesn't make money, and you can't
Scared
be
money
reactive
can't
when
make
it comes
money.
to that. You have to have a good plan, and then you need to act that plan out along the way.
Outside of something catastrophic, real estate's a pretty good bet. Again, we're talking about mortgages and getting a piece of property anywhere in the United States for that matter, because we at Capital Mortgage, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, do mortgages in every state in the United States. So we can hook you up. So again, if you're talking about Florida, Alabama, these are opportunities. The Carolinas have been hot. You got Georgia, you got Savannah, you got anywhere in Texas and Arizona, and I'm going to keep naming them. You can buy in Hawaii area if you want, and if you want to go maybe shoot caribou or something in Alaska, we can do that for you also. So working with a lender that works all across the United States. If you're thinking about maybe getting that second home, that vacation home, maybe it's an investment home where you want a little piece of some additional real estate in your portfolio, definitely call us at Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hey, you guys, got some local news here. Great news. Bucky the deer, that's right. He had his head stuck in that pumpkin, plastic pumpkin thing. That they got him yesterday. The bucket has been removed from his head, and Bucky is going to survive. Another successful deer story here in Southeast Michigan for all you hunters out there. Be one more.
Oh, Bucky.
That was a fantastic
I don't even
piece
know
of-
You know Bucky.
Bucky
you know
had that plastic pumpkin on his head, huh, Becky?
fantastic piece of random knowledge there. That
I
was
had no
that was
knowledge
awesome.
of that. No clue.
Alrighty, hey guys, we see Pat Caputo outside. Hey Becky, thanks for always joining. Of course, you can catch Becky back here. Becky Alley, one of the top 1% of all originators, back here on the Hardcore Mortgage Show. She'll be live in the studio next week, along with John Kolb, Harry Glanz, myself. Want to thank Kevin Stewart. Always Kevin, great stuff, and you can catch Kevin out. Kevin Stewart, just Google him. Google his name. You'll see him out there in Rochester. One of the best easygoing guys. If you want to be successful in home ownership, that's a good place to start. All right, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, and good luck to the Lions. We'll see you soon.